Okay, I'm looking at today's lesson, and I have to ask, what does Paul mean when he says through the violence done to him, Christ did away with the ceremonial laws, feasts, and sacrifices, which uniquely separated the Jews from the Gentiles? What Paul is talking about is the fact that Jesus gave his life to tear down all of those walls and those things that separated people from one another. Now, some people would have us believe that what Paul is talking about is the Ten Commandments. But it doesn't fit, because the Ten Commandments don't separate us from one another. In some way, shape, or form, most of the world has incorporated the last 6 commandments into their own morals, laws, and ethics. The Ten Commandments were not done away with because the cross could not undo a law rooted in a love for God and for each other. If you're looking to unite people, then getting rid of a law that reminds us to love others as we love ourselves just doesn't make sense. Paul is not making an argument for the tearing down of the Ten Commandments, but he is making an argument about tearing down walls that separate people from one another. And let's face it, too often people use religious differences to exclude other people. Here's what we know. Because of the cross of Christ, salvation was not only offered to the Jews, but also to the Gentiles, to us. And because these new kids were being added to God's family, things were beginning to change. The Jews realized they no longer had a monopoly on God, nor did they have exclusive access to God. God was now available to everybody, and the Jews, well, they didn't like it. Because of this, the Jews never seemed to accept the Gentiles for who they were in Christ. And this created a rift in the church. The Jewish saints were inclined to look down upon their Gentile brethren for not being Jewish. And the Gentiles? Well, the Gentile believers were tempted to look down on the Jews for their unbelief and rejection of Jesus as their Messiah. Paul could see that Satan was at work trying to divide this church. And in Paul-like fashion, he reminds the church that Christ died to reconcile us to God, and in turn, we are to be reconciled to one another. That unity is not found in race or religion or gender, but it is found in Jesus. And that was our nugget for today. Please have a look at your lesson. I'll see you tomorrow.